Good morning, High Tech. Today we'll be having a special presentation with Dr. Joseph Gimarella here on WHITradio.org. Good morning, Dr. Gimarella. It's great to have you on the show today.
Good morning, Matt. It's nice to be here.
Thank you very much. All right, to start things off, let's delve a bit into who you really are. Can you please tell us a bit about yourself? How would you describe yourself?
That's a tough question. I guess my primary focus in school would be student-centered, number one, and that's probably the most important thing. I'm a very easygoing person, but by being easygoing doesn't necessarily mean that I'm easy. So, a word to the wise.
So, how long have you been in this particular field, in education?
Well, I've been with the district almost 20 years now, and that's about as long as I've been in education. Prior to that, I worked in the private sector.
Why did you choose this field in particular, though?
When I went to college, I always had my mindset on becoming a teacher. Unfortunately, when I got out of college, I had a better job offer, and at that time it was substantially better. So I opted to go into the private sector. And then I guess about 20 years later, I ended up going back into teaching.
Do you feel working in the private sector helped you in any way in being an educator?
Yes, I think anytime you can expand your horizons beyond what you're actually doing, whether it's being in the classroom or being in administration, it has to be a help. You learn from your prior experiences. You could develop your particular management style, if you will, and you learn. And I had probably about 20 years of practice before I got into teaching.
Do you feel that's helped you see any business-related classes in this school in a new light?
Not really, and the reason I say not really is because we have to look at the entire program. I think I've gotten a lot of my insight into the particular majors up here from being in county prep for about 16 years prior to coming here. They have some of the same majors, and I was able to pick and choose in the case of business certain things that I liked in county prep, and then the things that would fit into high tech. It made an easy transition, and whether it was for business or science or performing arts or any of the technology areas, you learn from your prior experiences.
Clearly, you must be doing something right to have lasted this long in education. What qualities do you feel you possess that aid you in this career?
I guess there are a number of qualities that you have to have in the field of education. One is obviously being willing to change when you have to. Education, if it remains stagnant, eventually does not become successful. So you have to change with the times. You have to change with the students. You have to change with, unfortunately, in the situation that we're in now, you have to change with the whims of the particular people that are in power in Trenton and in Washington.
And we will get back on those changes in a little bit, but for now, do you describe yourself as being strict, or do you feel you're lenient in disciplinary actions in particular?
No, I'm not lenient, and I'm not really strict. I'm kind of middle of the road, but by being middle of the road, I feel that as long as someone understands what's expected of them, as long as everyone knows what the rules are, if the rules are followed, that's fine. If the rules aren't followed, then there are consequences. So it's not really being strict. I don't have different standards for different people. Everybody has to live by the same standards.
But when it comes to consequences, do you feel that they should be severe to an extent, or is it? I'm just curious on how you feel about disciplinary action in general, though.
I think everything has to be looked at on an individual basis. We do have a code of conduct here, and in that code of conduct there are recommended consequences for violations of a particular area. For example, take something simple. If you cut a class, well, the first thing that you do is usually a verbal warning, maybe a detention. Second time it gets a little bit more severe, and then the third time it may or may not result in a suspension. So there has to be a progressive and a progressive as well as a known consequence for everything or every rule that's set up.
You clearly love this school. What are your personal goals for high tech? What do you envision it to do, to become?
I envision high tech to become bigger and better. I think it's a great school. I don't have to do much because we have a very dedicated staff and we have students who go above and beyond. And that makes my life very easy. It makes my job very easy, and it makes me want to come to school just because of the people I meet and see here every day.
What do you enjoy most about both being a principal and in your previous career being a teacher?
I think being with the students. I mean, that's what education's all about. And whether the student is number 1 in the class or number 50 or number 150, every student has something to offer. I think what gives me a great deal of satisfaction is to see what the students offer, and if I know a student has something to offer, to pull it out of the student if they're not developing it themselves. So it's basically student-oriented. That's what drives me.
When it comes to that, though, what have you learned in particular from your students? Are there any qualities that or things that you feel that you've improved that have improved upon yourself from your students?
Probably a big thing is patience. Coming from the private sector, everything is done now or it was due yesterday. But with students, sometimes it isn't that easy. And sometimes you have to dig a little bit. Sometimes you have to prod a little bit. Sometimes you have to get the student to realize that they do have something to offer. So in that sense, you have to develop a lot of patience because you have to realize that it's not going to happen immediately. Mm-hmm. It may take a little longer.
Mm-hmm. All right, then. We'll be going on a commercial break. When we get back, we'll be discussing Dr. Giamorella's personal views and feelings concerning high tech and the rest of the Hudson County Schools of Technology. If you wish to call in, please dial 201-854-8224.
Enrollment of over 600 students.
Right.
It draws highly talented academic and artistic students from throughout Hudson County. I am Dr. Joseph Giamorella, Director of High Tech High School. Over 95% of our students attend four-year colleges and universities. Our recognitions include the Governor's School of Excellence and 2 prestigious New Jersey Star School Awards. We have been named as one of U.S. News & World Report's top high schools in the United States, and Family PC Magazine has identified High Tech High School as one of the top 100 schools in the United States.
I'm Frank Lagiulo, Superintendent of the Hudson County School of Technology. We are a dedicated, caring, multidimensional learning community. Utilizing a creative, well-trained staff, challenging curriculum, and state-of-the-art resources, we prepare our leaders of tomorrow today. Please support High Tech High School by logging on to WHITradio.org.
You're listening to WHIT Radio, Hudson County School of Technology, WHITradio.org.
Right, welcome back to WHITradio.org special presentation with Dr. Joseph Giamorella. in the first segment, we talked about his career and personality. High Tech, as you obviously know, is different from most schools in a few regards. What do you like about High Tech in both its foundation and in how it's run?
Well, the comment on how it's run is really the comment on my performance in some degree. To some degree.
No bias there.
No, but I think High Tech is a school that, if you compare it to other schools in the area, if you compare it to schools outside of Hudson County, you're going to find that it has a lot to offer. I think it's a great school. The staff is outstanding. The students, you could not ask for students to be any better. Their initiative, they're overachievers. They want everything. And in putting a schedule together for the students, you have to make sure that everything is available to them. So in that regard, it's one of a kind.
Is there anything about how the school itself runs in its format, in how it delivers things to students that you feel aids the students more so than in any other school or most other schools?
The experience that the staff has is a big help. The students drive the curriculum, the students drive the activities in the classroom, and the instructors recognize the need to address that. So the students always get what they're looking for. May not happen immediately, but eventually they get what they're looking for. And the staff knows how to deliver that and knows how to recognize that. So I think a lot of credit has to go to the staff for their ability to observe what's needed, and the students need to be recognized because they're the ones that drive everything that goes on in this building.
All goes back to patience, huh?
To some degree, yes.
Obviously, you feel the school is doing very well, but what do you feel as everything can improve that it can improve upon?
It could improve on anything. Pick an area. It could improve. The plant itself is old. The plant needs to be improved. If the curriculum doesn't change with the times, you find that the school becomes stagnated, the students don't succeed. So the curriculum has to change. There is nothing in this building that escapes change. Because if something escapes change, then we're being lax, or I'm being lax from the administrative standpoint, that I need to be looking at these things.
And are you involved personally in instituting many of those changes or in guiding several of those changes? Or
my feeling is the majority of the time, students as well as staff need to be empowered. The students and the staff need to be the ones to tell me we need to change something. There are certain things that have to change based on something that I say because I'm directed to, either by the superintendent or by the state. So in some instances, we have no choice.
Mm-hmm.
The majority of the time, though, I believe it's important that the staff and students as well get involved with change. And that could be seen at student government meetings where we have a group of students together who voice their opinions, who voice their concerns. Most recently, regarding the new school that we're planning to build in Secaucus, as well as some of their concerns about the financial cutbacks that were instituted just recently.
So how do you feel about students standing up and voicing their opinions regardless of where they may be?
Everybody's entitled to an opinion. If it's presented properly, if it's presented intelligently, I would be more than willing to listen to their opinions. Mm-hmm. Whether or not we can act on those opinions or those concerns immediately, or whether it takes a process, that's something that has to be determined.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Several schools have joined High Tech in the Hudson County Schools of Technology, the closest being AIS, Cash Prep, and ACT. How do you feel about these alternative schools?
I think as a district, we need to have alternative schools because not every student fits the high-tech profile, if you will, or the county prep profile. We need to have an outlet. If we are, in fact, a school district that services the county, we need to make sure that we service the entire county and not one group of students to the exclusion of another. So for alternative programs, I think that is something that the superintendent pushed for, and it's something that we as a district have to embrace.
Mm-hmm. Once again, just like high tech, is there anything that you feel that these relatively new schools should improve upon or adjust?
I really don't want to say anything about any of the other programs without having their particular administrators involved. So, I mean, we do discuss different things in private, and I don't think it would be good to deal with something like that.
I understand that, sir. I understand that. At the moment, some might think that high-tech and its schools might not be completely unified at the very least. Do you believe that, on a personal level mostly, do you believe that high-tech and the other HCST schools should interact more often, both possibly on a social basis or on educational matters? Or do you feel that they function better on their own?
If you look at the different programs, I think there's a time to function as a district, there's a time to function separately. We have sports programs that involve all of the units here, or all of the programs here. County Prep has the same thing. We each have our individual sports programs. We're competitive in our particular leagues. So I think there's an opportunity that high tech, even though it says high tech on a basketball jersey or a baseball jersey, it involves all of the students in all of the programs here in some way, shape, or form. I think that's one way to get everybody involved in something. Because of scheduling in some cases, because of what the particular program is all about, it's difficult to get together on curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
As for social events, everybody has different things to do, and it's very difficult to even try to have a social event. Most recently, we tried to have a dance here. It was on, it was off, it was canceled, it was rescheduled and canceled again. It's difficult because of other commitments that the students have. So socially, about the only thing you can do socially is basically what is available to you in the cafeteria.
Thank you very much. We'll be going on a commercial break. When we come back, we'll be discussing some of the school's internal problems, primarily the recent budget cuts. If you wish to call Dr. Jim Morella and ask him a question, please call in at 201-854-8224 or 201-854-8199. Thank you very much.
One voice. It can get the point across, but it only carries so far. Add a voice. It's richer, louder, but that has limits too. Add a third voice. It's even more powerful. Add another, and another, and many, many more. And we are stronger than ever. That's the power of a community coalition. They help community groups, faith groups, civic organizations, PTAs, employers, and many others in your community organize their resources and focus them where they're needed most, like fighting to keep kids away from drugs. Ask a group that you belong to if they should belong to a community coalition. It's easy to get involved. Visit helpyourcommunity.org and they'll tell you exactly how your group can help. That's helpyourcommunity.org, because you get more when we get together. Brought to you by the Office of National Drug Control Policy and the Ad Council.
You're listening to WHIT Radio, Hudson County School of Technology, WHITradio.org.
Once again, we're back on WHITradios.org's special presentation with Dr. Joseph Gimarella. On the last segment, we talked about Dr. Gimarella's personal feelings and views concerning high-tech and even a bit about the other Hudson County schools of technology. Every school, even the very best of them, have the problems, obviously. How often a week do you find yourself making major, due to mostly unforeseen circumstances, major decisions that have to change certain things, whether it be with the curriculum or whether it be with even on managerial duties?
Major problems occur, obviously, but we try to control the major problems. In other words, we try to have a plan for things that we know may come up. So there's always a contingency plan. So to say that I'm faced with a major decision that I have to make is usually rare. Decisions have to be made with respect to curriculum, with respect to courses, with respect to what do we need to fix based on what monies are available to us. But with the staff that we have in the building, with the administration in central office, there's a communication, there's a line of communication that we discuss, we lay out our options, and major decisions of that nature are usually done in concert with other people, in collaboration with other departments. So to say that I make all the major decisions, to some degree, you're correct in saying that. I do make the decisions for high tech, but there are a lot of other people that have input. So it's not just, okay, I wake up in the morning and I want to go in and change the science curriculum. That doesn't happen.
Understood, sir. Understood. But do you aid them when they're working on contingency plans ahead of time?
Absolutely. We, as the administrators of the program, we are the ones who have to put the plans together and present them to central office and say, in case something happens, this is what we'd like to do. They'll go over and they'll say, okay, it's great, it's a great plan, but you need to add something else to it. So it's still that back and forth dialogue that goes on.
Understood completely. Do you say you enjoy a challenge, though, or would you rather not have to deal with situations like that on a regular basis?
I would be very bored if things didn't happen. Now, whether it's a challenge or whether it's a meeting or whether it's this, I don't consider a challenge. This is a pleasure. This is this is one of the few things that I shouldn't say one of the few things, but this is something that gets me excited, and I look forward to student-driven events, and this is student-driven, and so that's what keeps me going. So, you know, it's not so much a challenge; it's a challenge to prepare for it, but it's a good challenge. Sometimes you have challenges that aren't so good, then you deal with those too.
Do you enjoy being able to actually give out information to the student populace like this?
Absolutely. It's their school. It's not my school. It's not the instructor's school. It's their school. They need to be aware of what's going on. And information is a great thing as long as it's used properly. And what was going on in school over the last week, there was information out there that wasn't accurate information. Inaccurate information destroys morale. It drives a wedge between people, and it just makes things not good.
Speaking about information going around that may or may not be true, rumors have been circulating about the sports program, summer leap classes, and even some after-school classes being cut. Can you tell us the possible fate about any of these classes or activities?
Okay. I know that the financial problem that exists in the state is being filtered down into the school districts, and obviously is being filtered down to Hudson County Schools of Technology. I won't address the sports issue because after we had a general meeting with the superintendent, he took all of the administrators in his office and discussed things with them particular to their own program. Sports is not directly my program. So the athletic coordinator, the athletic director spoke to the superintendent. From what I understand, we will have a sports program next year. Will it be as large or as extensive as the one we have this year? I don't know. I can't answer that. Will it include the same league we're in? I can't answer that. So there are a lot of things that I can't answer because I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
And at this point, everyone is working together to try to maintain whatever programs we have based on the financial problems that we're going to be experiencing. LEAP classes will occur. They will not, again, be as extensive. We will have LEAP classes. We will have enrichment classes. We will have, I believe, SAT prep. My budget to work with LEAP and extracurricular activities was reduced. But with that reduction, I was still able to maintain 90% of the extracurricular activities that we've had this year. Summer LEAP is going to exist very, very limitedly. I needed to identify what areas. I believe we will have AP prep courses during the summer. I can't yet get into any more courses other than the AP prep courses. We're not going to have the amount of time to do it in the summer. During the year, obviously, we will have more courses. We will still have our music program after school, our performing arts program after school. We will have enrichment courses after school for students who want to advance in mathematics especially. We'll have some science courses. Obviously, we need to have language arts courses for those students who intend to minor in foreign language, world language.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to do the best we can with what we have and still service the students and still maintain the culture of high tech.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can assure you. There's a student government meeting 2 weeks from this Monday, so it's the 19th. Hopefully I'll have enough information to present to the student council, and that way that will dispel their rumor, the rumors that are going around that we're not having this or we're not having that.
Mm-hmm.
So as time goes on, as I have to firm up my numbers before I can go out and say we're going to do this, this, and this. Suffice it to say, we will have extracurricular activities next year. We will have LEAP programs. So.
Well, thank you for
Okay.
dispelling those rumors. And just a quick answer, do you believe that these school cuts are these set in stone yet, or are there possibilities on changing them?
You could always hope.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at this point, we're pretty much going to have to go with what we have and what we know now.
Understood. This concludes our special presentation with Dr. Joseph Gimarella. Thank you, Dr. Gimarella, and have a nice day, High Tech.
Okay, thank you very much, and have a great break.
This has been a presentation of WHIT Radio.org.